to the weekly episode of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devon, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins, and let's drop in.
Welcome, freelancers, to episode 70 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, longest running Anthem podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Steve, along with two of my co-hosts, Mike, and who else is here? Devon? Devon, is that you?
I'm here sometimes. Mentally.
JD is actually out sick. He was just so sick of watching how bad the Colossus looks on the IGN stream. He couldn't stand it, so he took a sick day. But we also have with us, we have Lupo to the rescue, is back with us once again for his second time on this podcast. Lupo, the real question is, how did we convince you to come back a second time?
I couldn't let Ash take over the lead, so I'm trying to catch up.
Fair enough. We'll have you on next week, and then you guys will be tied, and we'll go from there.
Shots fired.
So guys, this has been a pretty exciting week in the world of Anthem. Probably one of the most exciting weeks we've had since forever. So real quick, there are only 28 days till launch. Only 28. We are less than a month away till the full launch of Anthem.
Can't believe it.
And that's launch for everyone. So that's if you play it on PlayStation 4, if you play it on Switch, if you play it on your toaster, you get it on the 28th in 28 days. So if you have Origin Access Premier, which releases on the 15th of February, which is actually the 14th because they're doing that whole time change thing.
Worldwide
you'll get access. Yep, you'll get access to it on Valentine's Day. So I mean, prepare for that.
Yeah, so
if you live in America,
get your affairs in order if you celebrate Valentine's Day. Take care of. Devon's
I let my wife know what's more important, and that was her.
And she let me play.
And I'm not playing on the 14th. All right, so you get access to it on the 14th. Then through EA Access, through Xbox and PC, if you just have that service, then you get 10 hours of game time on the 14th also, but only 10 hours. So
10 hours to customize your javelin.
And that's probably as much as it's going to take.
That's what it'll take, Devon. That's what it'll take, Devon.
And then get this, guys.
All gold. That's what I'm going to do.
In
all gold.
days.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
Hey, you guys are jumping the gun here. We'll talk about going gold and decorating your golden javelins later. But there are only 8 days until the open demo. That is next week. And there's only tomorrow. One day. You know, it's even less than 1 day now. It's how many hours? We've got 10 hours for tomorrow. There's only
hours.
Like 13 hours until you get your hands on the game. Unless, of course, BioWare decided to fly you out to one of their many locations across the world. I mean, there's that, so you probably got to play it early, but we're not going to talk about that here. So it's only 12 hours away. That's pretty exciting. I know a lot of people in our Discord who decided to take time off. Other people, like I don't have tomorrow off, so I'm going to have to suffer through. I'm just going to go find a spot where I don't have any cell service, so I'm not going to get tempted to go watch people stream it. So it's going to be rough because I'm assuming there's going to be story spoilers in it.
Yep.
Most likely.
IGN released their preview of the demo today. I watched a little bit of it, but then I was like, I actually don't want to watch them play the demo. I'd rather just wait until I got to play the demo tomorrow.
Got to go in dark.
So I shut it off after 20 minutes after all their talking and all their banter, which was kind of like, oh man, okay. So I didn't watch it, so I don't want to be spoiled on it. Did you guys, anyone else watch it?
I did not watch it. I did not watch their stream today.
I watched a couple
Lupo,
minutes.
did you get a chance?
Yeah, I did. I watched about an hour of it today. I'm not the type of person to be spoiled by things, so because whether if I watch it and have it in my hands, it's two completely different experiences. So
right,
that's just how I feel.
I didn't have time.
So why spoil? So one of the things I was thinking about, I was like, what would be really cool because a while ago the demo has been in production for a while now. It wasn't like, hey, we're just going to siphon this little part off and it's going to take us like 2 days to build the demo. It takes a long time to do that. And I was thinking, it would be a really cool idea if they didn't want to spoil any of the story. They just have a bunch of the devs record a bunch of voice lines that don't mean anything and just throw them into the game for the demo.
That could be fun.
So it's like you're not going to get spoiled on the story. You're still going to get the experience that you need. I mean, the story is going to be the story no matter what. But I think the demo has a really good opportunity to convince people of the controls, gameplay, and that loop. And if you just kind of hid all the story behind, you know, fake dialogue, I think that'd be kind of a fun idea. And that way you don't really get spoiled, you know, because we still have 21 days until the game comes out. And now you're just going to be thinking like, where these 3 missions lie in context with everything else. But I'm guessing it's most likely probably not Critical Path unless that's been revealed in the IGN stream and I just missed it because I turned it off. So I'm hoping these are just like legendary contracts or something. But
that'd be fun.
Right.
Either way, we get to find out in 13 hours.
I know. We should just talk until the demo goes live, and then we can just roll right into the demo.
So for me, it's 15 hours.
How many times have you clicked on the demo trying to get into it, thinking that you could, you know, sneak your way in past the Sentinels? I did it 17 times.
So and that's why your computer overheated, because that loading screen takes so much processing power for some reason.
Yeah,
it does.
It's not too bad when I was running it. I mean, it was running at 100 frames a second, but it wasn't too bad.
It's a pretty fast loading screen.
There was like 2 frames.
Well, it's not really 2 frames, but all right, Mike, you have a get to know us question, so I want you to hit us up.
So I do have a get to know you question. I would like to know. And this just comes right from the top of my head. Google had no help in this at all. I want to know what home project, craft, or hobby you tried that didn't go so well. And we're going to start with Devon. We're going to start with Devon.
Do you have an answer off the top of your head?
Specifically have something to pick them apart about.
Yeah. Not like we need something else. I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff. I mean... we could just take his picture in frame right now. There's 40 things I see right now. So Devon, what home project have you started maybe that you were like, I can't finish, I don't want to finish, or it just blew up in your face?
Well, so we redid part of our backyard. We put in grass, and I guess you could say it was a long-term project. But then I just, decided to stop watering our backyard. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done with this crap.
You can't water anymore?
You can't water the backyard.
No, it's like in the summertime, the water bill was so high. I'm just like, screw this crap. We don't go out here anyways, because the way our place is built, you have to go through the kitchen, into the garage, then to get outside. So I'm like, no, we don't ever go outside to the backyard. So... It's
how big was your grass?
I don't know. It was probably also our swamp cooler at the time because we run that thing 24/7 when I had a swamp cooler. Now I have actual air conditioning, and so now I don't have to worry about that. But
nice.
I'm still not watering in the backyard. So
nice. So a green thumb you do not have. That's what you're saying?
If it's convenient, I have one. If not, no.
That's funny. That's funny.
Weird. Lupo, do you have one? I still got to think here.
Home project. I mean, I want to be really organized. So like every time I try to get to a point where I'm going to organize something, I buy all the supplies, if I'm going to put something in storage, you get all the nice little boxes and you start putting everything in there. You even get like the nice little Brother Pete touch to print all the labels and you put all, everything that's on there. And then like after you do like 2 boxes, you get really tired of it. And you just like, you know what? Take all of it, put it in a bag and give it. That's it. Like, so, I mean, I would love to be more organized. I would love to be able to find something that's like have a catalog for something. But no.
Steven broke something.
Steve broke something. He pushed a button.
You can't
No one
just
can hear you, man.
leave things alone, Steven. Now we got an echo.
Did he break his thing?
I think he did. So I think Steven's home project is streaming, and he just like gave it up.
So Steve's home project was creating a podcast.
Yeah. Nope. Sorry, Steve.
This is pretty good. Let's keep going.
This could only happen. This could only happen to us.
Let's keep it going. It's fine this
Steve.
way. We'll just guess at what he's saying.
Yeah. No, got nothing. Got nothing, man. So I'll go ahead and tell my story while we're waiting for Steve to figure out his technical difficulties. Still not happening for you, Steve. So I have the same kind of thing. I'm in the same kind of boat as Devon is. Our backyard is terrible. The way our house was built, it's built like kind of on a hill.
and there's a steep drop off in our backyard. And so my wife and I were trying to figure out what we're doing back there and what we're doing. And we talk about retaining walls, and we talk about swimming pools. We talk about, just putting up a fence halfway to get rid of it. And it just hasn't turned into anything. So we've been in the house 10 years, and there still isn't anything back there. It's kind of frustrating. So that's what blew up on my side. Hey, Steve. How's it going, man?
Sounds like you're in a tin can somewhere.
Yeah. Sounds like your 1920s radio.
And I'll tell you why. Because can you hear me now?
There it is.
You pushed a button, didn't you?
I actually didn't push a button. The Blue Yeti microphone's power cord it really sucks. So you can just breathe on it wrong and it just falls out.
I've never had that issue with mine.
Well, that's really weird because I have that issue all the time. So I actually don't know because now my recording reset. So this is fantastic. So this is going to be one of those things where you just have to hold on for a second while I make sure that we didn't lose all of that audio that we did record. So Devon, I need you to stall.
Stall. So, what's this deal with gold javelins? Huh? That's good. Why not wooden javelins?
Why not wooden javelins?
You can have a
you don't
metal
have to
cape
stall. I
that
guess you can
floats.
keep going.
Then why can't you have a wooden javelin? But,
Yeah.
All plaid all the time.
I'll play it all the time.
I'll plaid all the time.
Well, CF Bunny, that is a good thing, but Stephen doesn't know the difference between plaid
Plaid
Or flannel.
and flannel.
flannel. So you would confuse him. So
Don't make it worse and throw Buffalo check into the equation.
it's like, what?
Buffalo check. I'm
Buffalo check?
See, you just confused.
not sure what that is.
So
internet will help
did the mixer get reset then?
What? No, mixer's going just fine.
For some reason, it has it at the loading screen for me. All right, so I'm not going to touch it. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to try not to breathe on my microphone, and
Just
we're
put your
going to
hands.
carry on.
Put your hands in your lap. Don't touch anything.
We're gonna carry on like BioWare streaming doing a live stream. So
That's awesome. All right,
Who's running
Steve.
the stream? Do we have
Do
questions
you
from
have
the
a,
chat?
do we have questions from the
well,
chat?
well
No, we
let's see.
don't.
Let's see if Steve has a project, hobby, craft that didn't go as he planned.
No, usually every craft or hobby that I do goes really well, so I've never really failed at anything like that. So I really don't have much to.
Is
to add
this
to the
is
story.
this where you want me to
Humble
step in?
Humble
Is
brag.
this where you want me to step in and correct our listeners? Or,
I'm kind
or
of
do you
interested.
want to?
I'm kind of interested in what you have to say.
Are you really?
I don't think
Yeah,
you are.
kinda.
Are you really? We could talk about
Kinda.
we could talk about a water heater. We could talk about a storage shed in your backyard that floods every time it rains.
So, one announcement that we'd like to make from the Freelancer Codex podcast, and one of the nice that Lupo came on because Lupo is going to be participating in this with us. So, on the second, you got me all messed up, Mike. You got
I
me
know.
all frustrated. So, February
Yeah.
2nd at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's February 2nd, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are actually going to host a live stream of a Stronghold run. We don't know if we're going to do this on normal or on Master yet.
Grandmaster 3.
We'll probably do it on
Unfortunately, we can't
Grandmaster
play
3.
Grandmaster 3.
So what we're gonna do is
And
we're
those
gonna
are
have
just the
four
streaming settings that we're playing with.
Yeah.
We don't know about the stronghold settings.
Normal desktop setting.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a couple races. So William from your Anthem is gonna put together a team. Bags from Anthem Insider is gonna put together a team. And then I think we, depending on if JD can actually stream this with his internet that he has to have his, his mouse running on his wheel to power. We're going to see if he can get a team. If not, we have a Discord user, Kagan Ryu, who's going to represent the Freelancer Codex if we can't get that through JD. So Lupo, as one of the runners who I suspect, my money's on you. Like, I know, because you like stream, you like play video games for a living. Like, this is what you do. So like, what are your strategy going into this thing? When we stream, you're going to race against one person. You're probably going to win the first round. I'm not going to tell you who we put you against, but
I mean, like,
pretty simple
I
bracket.
I won't even. If you're gonna give me like that kind of handicap at this point, like, we're gonna play it nonstop. Like one of my guys is actually gonna start at noon tomorrow. So that's that. Our goal is to get fully kitted by the time where it comes around, which is nice that we have everything going
Carries over.
through the next 2 weekends. It's not like it's
That
going
is
to
true.
reset progress. So that's positive.
I mean, that's a huge advantage that, you get this time to kind of figure out your strategies, and then you get a little break. You got to warm up, go find those legendary weapons that I think while the streamers and all the
We're gonna
YouTube
get
people were
legendary
over in
weapons.
San Francisco, they were saying that they were getting legendary weapons to drop. But also, I don't know if they're playing the demo or if they're given a different slice of the game, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. So, and do we know what, I guess it's the Swarm Tyrant stronghold that we're running, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I turned it off before IGN got all the way there. So it'll be pretty exciting. We're going to do a fun little event. We're going to do a lot of events like this for our community. Just if people want to put together a team, do a couple runs, see how they fare. We'll do a bunch of fun stuff like this because I think this is going to be the competitive PvP that we all wanted. Because I don't think anyone really wants there to be an actual PvP mode in this game. And I was thinking about PvP mode. If we're going to add a PvP mode to Anthem, I mean, why stop there? We could go full RTS with Anthem. It's easy to make these changes. I mean,
Salty
I don't see
Steve
why
is
we couldn't go with an RTS game mode in there. I mean,
One
what other
little
mode would you
cord
guys
gets
want?
unplugged and Steve goes crazy.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, they say, no, Anthem, PvP would be perfect for this game. And it's like, well, I guess you could say that for anything, right? An endless runner for Anthem would be good. Flappy Birds in Anthem style would be really well. But it's like, we have a team that's been spending 6 years playing the game. I'm guessing they put together some PvP stuff to at least test it. They found out that, maybe it doesn't work because you can't shoot when you fly. And I think that's something that anytime we have that conversation, like, oh, you can put PvP in here and it would be awesome. It's like, well, we don't really know that because you haven't tried it. Playing a game, having an idea and then seeing it realized. If you think you can just swap out a water heater in 2 hours, and then you realize that you can't swap out a water heater in that amount of time, I mean, that kind of thing changes. So all the people saying it's
Changes a
easy,
person.
but
Changes
it
a
really
person.
does.
Steven.
A lot of people saying that you can just throw it in there and it's
Yeah.
fine. I don't think it's as easy as you think it is. So I can hear you. I'm just ignoring you guys. So. All right. So Lupo, my money is on you, man.
And our segue into our next segment.
Excellent segue.
If you want to
Good
control
job,
the
Steve.
segues, Mike,
Good job.
I
No,
will go swap out your water heater as soon as I can. Hey, guess what? Anthem went gold yesterday.
That's right.
So this podcast might go gold in the next year. I don't know when that's going to happen, but Anthem finally went gold. They're like pushing the limit to when this thing was going to go gold, like 1 month away from actual release. The game actually gets released on the 15th if you have early access. So less than a month, you go gold and then you go live. I guess because it's on PC, you don't really have to worry too much about the physical portion of that.
On PC, as far as I know.
So, I mean, very excited
Well,
for
I
them.
think that's the other thing too, is that like the gold status is mostly for the physical pre-orders or the physical game copies. So the 15th is only for digital. So that's Premier Access or EA Access. So those are all going to be digital versions of the game. So they're not worried about getting those printed and having those ready at those particular times. So
Although, I mean, they
I understand. Like, I was
still
just
cutting
sweating
it
it.
close.
I
Still
was
cutting
definitely
it
sweating
close.
it.
Yep. I'll be finished. See how much of a patch they got day one, like CF Bunny.
I mean, and I'm surprised that, well, I'm guessing next generation of consoles and stuff, we might not even have discs to go inside of our consoles if the rumors from Microsoft next console come true. So, that might just be a thing of the past. I mean, right now we have a lot of games that go into early access that don't have a disc. They're all download. So you just go early access. You never really have that. I guess they have official launch dates, but when you get everyone playing your game and buying your game before the game's even out, that thing kind of matters less than it used to. But I think it's still a cool milestone that the developers get to celebrate. I mean, when we talk about a lot of games that, you don't hear about a lot of the games that never go gold. They've been working on them for a long time, like the Star Wars game that was recently canceled. That thing will never go gold. So that's going to miss that milestone. So when your game does go gold, I'm sure it's like, man, we finally got it. It's going to be out there. We don't have to worry about getting it canceled, by the publisher anytime soon. So it's pretty exciting. I'm excited for the dev team to get that notch on their belt, I guess. So one
It
game
is, it's a
gold,
big
and
thing.
now let's hit the end game in a week, and then let's complain that there's not enough content, and then we'll start it all over again. That's the point. So, Mike, you have some shout outs you wanted to make?
Yes, we're gonna. First shout out goes to Salty Steve. He's making his first appearance here on the show.
I'm not even being salty here.
We do have some, man, our Discord has blown up. Like I don't think people realize how much it's blown up. It is crazy how much it is blown up. We appreciate it. It's awesome. It's kind of hard to keep up with everybody who shows up. We're trying to get to everybody though. So just a couple of shout outs to those who have joined within the last week. Kinsey Tempest, give him a shout out. And then this was one of those names that always kind of like gives you a little bit of apprehension right before you get ready to say it, even though you've heard it said a couple times. Kojin Monster. See, I did it again. I was gonna say Master. Koji? What is it?
Koji
Devon?
Monster.
Munster?
Yeah, Monster.
Like Freddy Munster?
Koji Monster.
Koji Monster. And then I'm guessing these are Roman numerals. How would you say that? Was it Kix?
KXIC.
Or is it just KXIIIC?
What's C in Roman numerals?
I think it's
Cackles.
100. Is it 100? It might be 1,000.
It is 100.
No, M's 1,000.
M's 1,000. I believe you. You could have made that up. You could have said it was W. I would have been like, oh yeah, Lupo knows. You know. So just a couple of people who have joined within the last little bit. Thank you for keeping our Discord up. We appreciate you guys being there. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts and having some interaction. Stay in there, build the community. We've got some great community going on. I think we've got representation from PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And so if you need to find a group, go in there. You can find a group there. We're always talking about Anthem. We have tons of channels. We talk about off-topic stuff. We talk about Steve mentioned the fitness portion that we do, and so get in that Discord. We appreciate it. Keep it clean.
I mean, we have a ton of people. We've got people from Australia, people from Japan, people from Texas, but we don't talk about those people. I think one of the things that, it's hard about like names on the internet. Like I don't even know if Rusted Blade. I don't even know if what Rusted's name actually is. I just call him Rusted because every time I see it, I always thought it was Rusted Labs, but I don't think it's Rusted Labs because that doesn't make sense. And then Kags, I don't even know if I know how to pronounce Kags' name. It's like Kag and Ryu or something like that. So we just call him Kags. And
his name is probably like Charles Duval or something like that. And you're like, how does that work?
Hey,
I actually know Kags' name, but Gary.
Yeah, it's Gary
No.
Gooney.
Gary.
Devon's always talking about Gary Gooney.
So I think we can finally start talking about Anthem stuff now that all our technical difficulties are out of the way. I'm pretty sure I hope I'm recording this part. So we'll see how this thing goes. We'll just splice it all together.
I'm recording. I checked.
All right. So
Nice.
one interesting thing that we have seen on the Twitterverse from Ben Irving recently has been that they have changed how their Masterwork weapons work. Previously, all Masterwork and Legendary weapons were going to have a bonus trait that did something awesome. But they have recently changed that to, they said only about half of them will have the super awesome bonus trait and the others will not. They'll still have the inscriptions, but they just won't have the really cool property. So Ben says we made a change so that they are easier to get Masterworks without the property and harder to get ones with the property. So just like spitballing here, like, are you guys okay with this change? Does this change make you like super angry, like a bunch of people on Twitter? Lupo, do you have does this even impact you as someone who hasn't even played the game yet?
No, not even a little bit.
Nice. Moving on.
Destiny does something very similar where you have like legendary gear and then you have like the Masterwork version of it. Yeah. And then even more so now, like they have what they call a curated role, which is something that the developers have, extensively play tested and said, hey, this is something that we really like. We're going to give you this at, its absolute highest potential and check it out. So I see that system very similar. But I think what they're trying to do here is to put more Masterworks into people's hands, because if crafting is going to be as important of a thing as we are led on to believe right now, I think that having more Masterworks is going to actually net you more like Masterwork type materials. So if you are getting a lot of Masterwork heavy pistols and you want the auto rifle and you're not getting them, this will give you that opportunity to craft the things you want to use as opposed to getting the things that you don't want to use.
For me, I think that's probably the only positive. Really, I think I call them like lesser Masterworks. That's what I put in here. They're just, to me, it feels like a stopgap. I understand it gets them into people's hands sooner, but ultimately, it's not. I guess to me, it feels like it's not really a masterwork when it doesn't have that quality that makes it the top tier masterwork, I guess you could say. Because it's gonna be cool. Yeah, I got this masterwork, and it's still gonna be. Oh, I need to work up to the next version of the masterwork, or, I guess it depends on their drop rate. We don't know the drop rate and how much it's going to be and how often you're going to get them. So if it's valuable, I don't know. But if you're not getting the good stuff very often, it gets kind of old, right? So.
We still know that the Masterwork weapons are still going to have 4 inscriptions on them, so it's going to be higher than everything else. Yeah. So I guess, in Diablo, they have their legendary weapons, and then sometimes they will drop an ancient legendary, which just has higher stats on it. It still has the same perk and the same ability. It's just that much better. I think this way, it's just kind of hard to think of it with, I don't know, because I guess it doesn't bug me too much. But what would the other option be? Just give every single one of them that perk, or downgrade those weapons into rare categories but then that limits your pool up at the top. So I don't know what the right answer is, and I guess I don't even know what problem they're trying to solve by making this change. It's very possible that they didn't have enough weapons in the Masterworks loot pool, so it felt very far in between when you would get them. So they threw in a couple more without that perk. So yeah, I don't know what problem they're trying to solve, I guess. So it's hard to say what a better solution would be, because this might have been the easiest, quickest solution for them.
It's whatever they ran into in internal testing. Maybe people that are playing it, and they just weren't seeing the drop rates on what they were playing, and so like, well, how do we increase that? And that was their quick and dirty way.
Well, I bet they also played with increasing the number before they took the perk off, and they got it too much, and so they understood that there needed to be a balance there. That you still want to get the drop, but you don't want. Again, it's just another tier. It's another level,
And I think we probably, for me, because it is a masterwork, it's really not that big of a deal, because in the end, you're going to be chasing legendaries anyway, right? So is it really going to matter if there's these differentiation? Is that even a word?
That is
if you have these 2 different categories within Masterworks, because at the end of the day, if you're pushing Grandmaster 3, how many Masterworks are you going to have equipped anyway?
Probably.
So it might not even right.
Yeah.
Well, you will until you start getting those legendaries. But like I said, in the end, you're going to be chasing the legendaries. You're not going to be worried about, oh man, this Masterwork doesn't have this, because it is just a stopgap to get to the next level, right? I'd be disappointed if the legendaries didn't have a secondary ability that actually made a huge difference or a huge impact. That would, be pretty disappointing. But because it is just this other level until you get to the highest level, it probably won't be that big of a deal for us. So that, I guess, just talking out of my head, that's kind of where the way I'm leaning on it. So.
Well, and they also, for like the legendary stuff on the gear, when they first showed off the gear and it only had 2 inscriptions, it was kind of confusing until they're like, well, it was too hard to balance everything with 4 inscriptions on the gear pieces, so they dropped it down to just 2 inscriptions on gear pieces. It's still 4 on weapons, but on the gear pieces, they just dropped it down to 2. So that'll be something. They want us to feel like superheroes. They want us to be, pretty powerful, but I don't know. I guess once we get to that Grandmaster, we'll really see how hard that, 3,100% damage and shield is, and if our legendary stuff really works that good against it. I hope it does. So
yeah, and I think with them decreasing the amount of inscriptions you have on your components right now down to 2, that gives them opportunities to increase it in the future. Because if you had them at 4 and that's kind of like your base, I mean, you might not be able to increase that in the future. So doing it this way, when that first big giant content drops, now, hey, guess what? Your components have 3 inscriptions now. Now that, increases what you're chasing for. It keeps that loop coming back. So, and that could be possibly one of the reasons why they did it. I mean, it's hard to balance, but if you don't have PvP, then, what are you really balancing to? You just want to balance people to have fun. So, I mean, if they're looking down the road, long run, how do we keep this going? Okay, you pull back the inscriptions now, and then as the game goes on, you start adding more and more inscriptions, so that power level gets crazier and crazier. So you start pushing Grandmaster 4, 5, and 6.
You saying they cut content to put it in DLC and sell it to us later, Steven?
No, I didn't say that because they're not going to sell it to us.
Oh, that's right. It's free.
They're going to give it to us anyway.
Like,
but I mean,
here's the extra stuff that we took out.
I mean, I don't know if you call it inscription content, but I mean, it's very possible that they did do that. And because they're going to give it to us for free anyway, I'm not too upset. Yeah. And it increases that chance to keep playing the game and actually feel like you are improving. What the first legendary drop that Ben Irving tweeted out, I think that was while they were doing one of their their press trips. Yeah. So they got a Colossus gear piece, which was legendary, and it was called the Grandmaster. It was a support piece, and it gave like armor reinforcement of like 12,518 and a shield reinforcement of 4,973. I don't even know if that's a big number or not because we haven't seen comparisons and stuff. I mean, it looks big. So its inscription or its secondary attribute was, someone keeps moving this and making it bigger here,
Mike.
So upon hard landing, create an explosion at the point of impact. So that's a pretty cool ability. And then it gives you a 25% radius, pickup radius, and then a repair of 14%. Which I guess if you down someone and you go to repair them, they get repaired to that point. Everything that we saw previously, anytime someone got repaired, they got all their health back right away. Yeah. So maybe that's just a percent speed. So maybe they repair you 14% faster.
14% faster than the base number. That's what I'm guessing it is. Or maybe it's your repair. Maybe the Colossus has another perk or has another component which can help them self repair. And so maybe it'll give back 14% of its own health. I mean, who knows? Like you said, we don't know. We don't know what it's going to be.
We might know a little bit more tomorrow. So
we are going to know a lot tomorrow. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed on this or if it bugged you like it bugged me, but when you get one of these legendary pieces of gear, the orange perk is listed second after some other text. And I think that's super weird that they put that super awesome thing just kind of hidden in there. It's not really hidden, but it's second. So I tweeted, I talked to Ben about it. I was like, hey, what's up with this? And he says, yeah, there are reasons. It's just how it works for now. So I was like, I don't know if this is like something that when they were building it, they just didn't realize, this needs to go here. And for the way the back end works, it has to work this way. So I figured it's like, well, why don't you just move it to the beginning? Because that's the thing I want to read anyway. I don't want to go through, increased duration of support abilities by 50%. I want to read the super awesome thing that I got on the legendary weapon. I mean, it's a super minor nitpick, but I mean, I don't know if it bugs you guys like it bugs me, but it kind of bugs me.
Maybe it's one of those coding things where like it has to be in that place or else that first perk doesn't take effect. One of those like if then kind of things. Maybe.
I mean, I'm guessing that's probably what it is. It's something having to do with someone's Excel sheet that got their row put in the wrong spot or something. I don't know if that works like that at all.
That's how they make video games in Excel.
Yeah, that's
what I thought. That's why I've been studying Excel. Well, you guys have been playing video games. I've been studying Excel. So, and then another quick thing. I don't know if you guys noticed this, and you guys can tell me if I'm crazy or not. But the vault space in the bottom left corner of this image that Ben shared, it tells us how much vault space we have, and they have 105.
But do we know that that's vault space?
Yes, because there's a picture of a vault next to it.
That's a vault?
And it says slots used. That's the picture. That's the icon that you can see in the videos when they go next to the vault.
Okay.
And it says vault space 159 of 250. Lupo, you play games. Is 250 enough?
No. I mean, my Destiny vault has 250 items that I don't use. So I mean, if this game is going to predicate itself on using or chasing items over and over and over again, you're going to want to hold on to those ones that are close. Like that's the issue that I'm having with this particular system, because you might have one that's got one really, really, really good perk, and then one that has like, the same one has like I might not use this. So you're always going to chase that to have 4 perfect, as opposed to, 2 or 4 perfect, as opposed to, 1 good, 2 okay, and 1 bad.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel about it. You're always going to, especially if you like it a lot. Like if you have like that frost grenade that can, chain frost connections or something like that, you're going to want better versions of it.
So here's the thought though. What if this is the 250 is what you can keep on that javelin, right? So instead of having to go to the vault and swap out the stuff that's on your javelin or the stuff that you can access from the forge, is that number just what you have for that javelin? And then if you want to swap stuff out, you go to the vault and change those things, right? So like an
inventory you can take with you into the field.
Well, you can't change anything in the field, but so when you go to the forge, I don't think it goes to everything that you have in your vault is my guess. I'm guessing that's a specific thing because 250 is way too small, especially with 4 javelins trying to collect all of your, gear pieces, weapons, everything. That's just not enough. And so I'm guessing that 250 is for that Colossus javelin right there. And because they would need to have at least that much with all the different things you can have here for your one javelin. 250 is nothing.
What if those are just the components for the Colossus? Like there are 250 slots allocated for the components also. Then there's a number allocated for weapons.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure some of the game changers have information about this that have actually played it, but I can't be bothered to watch their stuff because I'd rather play the game than watch their stuff. I've watched some of their stuff, but they haven't really gone over the vault too much, or your storage. Because they haven't been able to talk about it. But tomorrow we'll find out when we play the demo of what this actually is. But that's my guess because 250 is just not enough. If you're looking on the screen right here, he just has a couple. What are the gear pieces, right? So he only has 12 right there, and
12 that we see, but there's a scroll bar,
and you can
scroll
all the way down.
bar to the side. Yeah.
So that's my guess is like it's 250. Just for that javelin of what you have on there, and because I'm guessing when you go to the forge, you can change stuff on the fly of what you have right there, or maybe you have specific set of javelins and that kind of stuff. I don't know how it works yet. They haven't really talked about it, but they say there's enough storage space but there is a limit. But they've also talked that there wouldn't be, Mark Dara basically dogged Destiny on Twitter and saying why would you put such a small limit on items, and especially with 4 javelins and trying to collect all that stuff. 250 is just not enough.
I think in older tweets, they had mentioned the number 300 as the amount of vault space that we were going to have. And I think they said that was going to be enough for everything. So I actually think this is just an overall, this is how many items you can carry. And like you guys said, I don't think it's enough. Maybe it's as you level up, maybe that number can increase as you complete certain story missions.
We know that bigger.
Yeah, we know that Fort Tarsus will actually change. Yeah. So maybe this is one of those things that, hey, you're only level 15 right now, so where you're at in the critical path or where your Fort Tarsus currently is at in its progression, you only get 250. And as you increase, level, as you get through the story, your vault's going to get bigger, your vault's going to get better. So, but yeah, you're talking 11 slots of power, 4 javelins, that's 44 items. Just if you have like, oh, I only want these items. That's not, hey, I want this build it's not enough. So we're going to need more. Unless you're going to be like Lupo said, it's like, oh, you're just going to have to make those sacrifices. It's nice that items like your armor and what are they called? All the cosmetics hopefully don't take up these slots, because I think that's in a different menu, because that would be kind of weird if they did, but they're probably not going to be included in here. So I think we're going to need more space.
You got to have somewhere to store it.
Yeah. Maybe you get extra slots in your Strider that you can store stuff. So hopefully we can add stuff in there. So enough about that, guys. Real quick, something that's exciting, that we have a sponsor for the show. So Audible is sponsoring our show. And just real quick, I wanted to tell everyone about Audible because I've been using it for about 3 or 4 years now, and I have like over 144 books through Audible. So it's, if you guys go to audibletrial.com/freelancer codex, you're going to get a free book through Audible, and that's free to keep. So you don't have to pay anything. You sign up, you can cancel it after that. You get your free book. You get to pick through over 144,000 different audiobooks. And that's any book, whether it's a $72 book, whether it's a $4 audiobook, you get to keep it. It's yours and you get to enjoy it for forever. So one book that I would recommend if you're really into sci-fi, there's a series called The Bobverse. The first book is We Are Legion, We Are Bob. And that's written by Dennis E. Taylor, narrated by Ray Porter. It's a really cool sci-fi novel. I won't spoil too much, but it's about a guy that dies and becomes an AI, and it's about him and what that does to a person and what he does with himself. And it's a really good book. It's a really fun read. It's only about 8 hours long, so you can get that. You can get through that pretty quickly, especially if you listen to it like 2 times speed, like I do. You get through a lot of audio content if you just speed up everyone's voices. Everyone sounds weirder. Like Mike sounds like he's high all the time now that I talk to him, because I listen to his voice on
Now
2 times
Steven
speed
can't
sometimes.
talk normally. It's like if you
No, I
don't
I
talk within less than half a millisecond. Drink the water.
So audibletrial.com/freelancer codex. Go grab yourself a free book. Tell us how it is, and it's pretty awesome. So I suggest you do that. Mike, have you done it yet?
I have done it.
I also have an Audible account. I don't have as many books as Steven, but I do enjoy the Audible. It's really good. I don't listen to it on fast forward like Steven. So
I listen to
should.
it on 0.5 speed because I like the slow kind
low
of
voice?
steady talking.
0.5?
0.5 speed.
Yeah.
half speed.
I slow it down.
That's a great way to do that.
It's really
Don't
frustrating.
ever take Mike's advice. All right.
Ever on anything
So we
except for,
did get
except for playing Anthem and joining our Discord and supporting Steven. And
that's
sending him a text of just like good feelings because he's having a rough go of it tonight apparently.
I don't know why you think I'm having like a rough go of it. Like what's going on here, Mike?
Okay,
Let's stop the show. Let's kind of hug it out.
let's talk about our feelings.
Devon, IGN came out with an article, and I know you go to IGN a lot because there's only like 2 websites that cover games in this day and age, and one of them is IGN. So they came out with an article that says 20, or not 20 things, but everything we learned after playing for 20 hours and this was written by Brandon Terrell. So one of the things that we learned about, and I can just read through these real quick. We learned about the Dominion. We learned about the trailer that we got with the bald guy. What trailer was that? Was that the?
That was the.
Was it the live demo trailer that they released?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
No.
Was it the live demo or was it the?
No, it wasn't the live demo.
It was
trailer.
John's. Wasn't it John's video?
Oh yeah, no, it was the CES trailer.
Yes, it was the CES trailer they released. Okay. So, in this trailer, we get the shot of a bald guy. I'm pretty sure that's modeled after John Warner. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that's what I read. One of the tweets from the dev.
It looks like Imhotep from The Mummy.
It really does, especially because he's got like the garb looks kind of like, "Hey, I'm a king. Look at me." Yep. And then, except he has his full face. So he doesn't have that half melted face thing going on. So when does Brendan Fraser show up? That's the real question. Is Brendan Fraser really the monitor?
He's not at launch.
He's the monitor.
Brendan Fraser not at launch?
Please no.
Hey.
All right. So
please no.
So the Dominion, led by a name. And
it's a boy name too.
My name is. Okay.
My name is.
Will the real monitor please stand up? Please stand up. Man, we're dating ourselves. Like, can you imagine? That's super old stuff. All right. The Dominion, led by a man named Dr. Hawken, sought a powerful shaper artifact that he believed they could use to control the Anthem of creation, and I'm sure that turned out super fantastic for them.
See, I just tied everything back to like our get to know you question, because that's what if Dr. Hawken was on our show, he would say, well, you know what? One of the hobbies I had was to try to control the Anthem of creation. Didn't work so well.
So you think his first name's Steven? It's not Doctor, right?
I see what you did there. It might be.
Stephen Hawking.
So what do you think he's a doctor of? Because I mean, we haven't heard about any of like the infrastructure for Anthem. Is he like a dentist or dentist?
Gynecologist?
Do they call him something different?
I think he's a doctor in the sense that he's just the evil guy, like Doctor Doom, and Doctor.
Well, I mean, he was Dr. Octavius. He was a real doctor.
Well, I didn't say Octavius. I said Doctor Doom.
Oh, Dr. Demento. Someone's dating themselves.
Demento.
I remember my older brother like recording Dr. Demento off the radio onto cassette tapes. That's how old that is.
That's how old we are.
Yeah.
I don't know what
So
you're talking about.
So we don't know what kind of doctor he is. We just know he's evil. We know that he wants to. Well, we don't even know if he's really evil. No, they're probably evil because Freemark
He's
was
probably
ancient
evil
and
now.
prosperous, but was attacked by a militaristic, black-clad faction of conquerors called the Dominion, who came from the north. The Dominion, led by a man named Dr. Harkin. Harkin? Is it Harkin? It's Hawkin.
Maybe these are two
Harkin.
different people.
That's really interesting because this is from the same article. So now I don't know if it's Harkin or
Joke
Hawkin.
Dealer said, JD said Hawkin was a typo. I believe an IGN later changed it to Harkin.
Interesting.
This is how the internet ruins things. They don't type it correctly.
All right, I'm going to finish reading this. So the Dominion, led by a man named Dr. Harkin, sought a powerful shaper artifact that he believed they could use to control the Anthem creation. He was wrong. Like most megalomaniacs tend to be, his tampering created a massive cataclysm, destroying Freemark. After that day, the Dominion disappeared along with Dr. Harkin. So, pretty evil dude. I mean, we don't know how populated Freemark was, but we do know that there are not a lot of established cities in the world, because it's a pretty dangerous world. So there's not that many of them. And for the Dominion to come in. So, I mean, you got to think it's like, okay, they rolled in. First of all, who builds their city over a giant, shaper artifact? That probably might not have been the best idea.
Maybe they didn't know it was there.
I mean, how do you not know?
Maybe they thought it
It's
was
like a
a power
Forerunner
source.
artifact. You don't know it's there.
Or maybe they did know it was there and they were trying to use it. I mean, I guess we'll find out.
Or will we? Won't find out tomorrow. So a pretty evil guy. They destroyed the whole thing.
That's how I feel. It's like a landmark.
Yeah. And they
So,
wanted to
all
build
right.
their city around it. And they wanted
There's
to
a big thing. We're going to
And
build
there's
on
a
top
thing.
of that.
let's use it. Let's protect it. I bet they were like hoarders and they were like, we found this first. We're gonna build a city around it. And then this guy kind of is like, well, how can I use this to my advantage? And he probably started out as a good guy. He was like, I need to help the people survive. We're freezing to death. We have no food. Maybe we should, use this. And then it kind of exploded on him.
And he's probably like Thanos. He's like, I must murder half of you. Spoiler alert. I must murder half of you in order for the universe to carry on and be okay.
And you'll thank me later.
Yeah.
Should've
I don't
hit him in
think
the
they'll
head.
thank him later, though. So, yeah. Anyway, you guys are super distracting me right now. I just want to talk about...
Dude,
I was gonna say
Strange.
Star Trek.
Dr. Strange should have just used the time stone and like gone back to when Thanos was a little kid and like kidnapped him and like, raised
So
him
you're
up-
down with,
raised him up better.
kidnapping babies?
well, and just like
We learn new
raising him up
things about
better.
Mike every day.
You just kidnapped a baby.
To raise him up better. I mean, I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
could have.
And then Mike had a plan that never would have worked.
it would have worked.
So, all right.
This is the
So,
end
Devin,
game.
will you take this next one, please, so I can take a drink of water?
All right. So, but after playing a lot of Anthem, we learned a little more. For example, we know that there are other cities, right? This is where we're at, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I just want
If
to
you're
make sure.
following along.
And probably a whole other continents on the planet. The lush area or country or continent or whatever you want to call it that we've all seen so far is called Bastion. It's the home of Fort Tarsus and where Anthem primarily takes place. From what we've seen so far, right? So that's just according to their 20 hours of game time. But it was once home to another major city called Freemark.
And we know that was destroyed. So
It's
that
destroyed.
sucks, I guess, for them.
I'm
for the
guessing
free
that was
market.
what was in that trailer when it blew up, right? I'm guessing that was the red fort.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what
Makes
I'm
sense.
guessing. That's exactly what happened. So if that was Freemark. Freemark's gone, and that was kind of like a blast from the past. That's probably some story stuff that we're gonna be getting into. That hey, this happened. This is what the Dominion are. That's probably our freelancer learning about it from Halleck. So I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. So, and then IGN goes to break NDA. I guess they're allowed to break NDA in their article, which is cool. But whatever, we're not going to break NDA here,
for
so we're
life.
not gonna talk about it.
Yeah, that's what we found out from Ben. NDA for life.
Unless you're IGN, then you get certain
I
privileges.
mean,
so.
like I said, I spoke with Jesse this weekend, and he literally told 20 people, this is life.
Just not IGN.
No, just not. Yeah, no.
What's the first rule about NDAs or Anthem Alpha? You don't talk about Anthem Alpha.
I guess if you pay enough to have it on your show, you can do whatever you want.
Right. Money talks. All right. So then they talked about the Elder game. They really didn't talk about the Elder game. They just kind of talked around the Elder game because we still don't know exactly what it's going to entail. We know that there's going to be strongholds. We know there's going to be legendary contracts. We know that we're going to be chasing gear, but we don't know exactly what is beyond that. We don't know are we only going to be chasing gear and strongholds and legendary contracts? Because
that's the best place for it to drop, they said. So,
but zero mention of Shaper Storm still.
Zero mention of Shaper Storms.
Zero mention of Shaper Storms.
Which is super weird to me because that was like front and center. Well, I mean, just because it was front and center in the E3 trailer doesn't mean it, made it to launch.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the Shaper Storms were like, oh, it's going to change everything, and I mean that was a huge talking point. I figured that would be something like, nope, this is going to be in here.
Have you
This is the one
tweeted
thing that we're
it?
talking about.
Have you tweeted it, Ben?
No, they don't. I don't think they've ever answered a question about Shaper Storms because I know a lot of people have. But no one's ever really talked about it. No, yeah, a lot of people have asked him about it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just something that we're not going to see, or that's going to be one of the secrets they're holding until the game actually releases. Because I mean, they shouldn't show us everything in the next couple days. They shouldn't tell IGN everything about the game. There should be some discovery for the players when we get it, so we don't feel like, oh, we've seen this, we saw this, so we'll see what happens there. I hope we see Shaper. I can't even talk. I hope we see some Shaper Storms. That's a hard thing to say. How do you say that 5 times fast? See Shaper Storms soon.
By the seashore.
By the seashore.
Yeah. So when they were talking about weapons, one of the cool things that they did talk about, Brandon said, is it Brandon that wrote this article? Like, wow, I keep wanting to say Brandon. It is Brandon. It is a pass. It says, to give you an example, I had earned dozens of pieces of gear and components to let me start building a foundation for a powerful loadout. One Masterwork component I found called Token of the Master shortened my left ability cooldown by 60% when I scored a killing blow, and on an enemy's weak point with my right ability. So they're talking about left bumper, right bumper, just being able to map those. That's pretty handy by itself because it means cooldown loop is shortened, effectively increasing my damage per second. But then I found a Masterwork component called Mark of Ruin that increased my right ability damage by 100% for 5 seconds while my left ability was on cooldown. Now, they say they found these things, but I'm pretty sure the developers just turned it on for them. It's like, here, you're not going to find this in time, so play with these abilities. Combining those perks is where you start and see how things and you can see how your damage can start to blow. So one of the cool things I like about all this stuff is we start talking about, gear components that change, cooldowns and damage rates and bonuses on when you kill things. It really makes it so you're not just hitting the same buttons over and over again. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to find your rotation depending on the gear that you have. I know Warcraft, rotation is a thing. These are when your items are on cooldown, what are you going to hit next? What follows up with what? And this seems like this is kind of that style that they're going for. So it's not just, okay, I wait for my super and I pop my super. This is very much, okay, you actually have to focus on what you're doing to get the maximum amount of output. So when we're doing our, stronghold races, I think it comes down to the players that are like, okay, I know that after 5 seconds after I use left bumper, then this should be off a cooldown and I can hit right bumper and then I can throw a grenade and this will maximize my damage by, 2,000%, whatever crazy abilities we're going to be able to find there. Yeah. So it's not just, many times playing Diablo 3 at night, I fell asleep in my chair because it's pretty much just hitting the same buttons over and over again and things just being destroyed on screen.
You gotta know.
So it seems like this is going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit more interactive depending on what build you have. So I think that's really cool.
No, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people, that's what the big chase is going to be. It's, like you said, I found this and then I found the other one, if he did find them. But You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, here's what I can do with these builds. You know, and again, that goes back to vault space, and it's like, I got this cool component here, but it doesn't work for my build, so I need to store it, right? So, and then when I find something, I can build. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to go back to the vault space, but they need more.
You don't want to go back to I mean, you can go back to, I mean, if it's going to be a problem, I mean, one of the things that we can skip a couple things as we talk about, you know, bringing up issues and things that we want. Mike Gamble tweeted out a video of a social space that apparently they built in like 5 hours.
It's completely empty.
To where you can have up to 16 freelancers in there, called the launch bay. So you can go there, you can reload, you can use the forge, you can grab contracts, and you can ignore each other while everyone's there, because that's what people are going to do. So I mean, it's really cool that the devs are listening to what the players want. I think this was a great way and an easy way for them to show people that say, hey, you guys wanted something, we're delivering on what you wanted. So it's showing that we are listening, and we can do this. We can make these changes fairly quickly, because I don't know if this was a plan for them 6 months ago, but as people kept talking about it, I mean, I think this is pretty quick to, you know, it's a very quick turnaround time. In other games where you see that, you know, making small changes takes a really long time, this is something that it's not going to be out at launch, but it's going to be out soon after. That they're listening, they're willing to, you know, take feedback, they're willing to listen to what the players have. Hopefully they don't listen to everything that we have, or else we're going to end up with a PvP that isn't fun and makes no sense to be played in the game. But
money.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they put it out, and I'm not going to use it, and I don't really care about it. I'm not going to go and look at people, because you can't really inspect players right now at launch either.
It's in, when you're in there, you can view people's loadouts on Twitter.
Oh, I thought they said you couldn't inspect players yet.
No, it said you can view people's loadouts. So.
Interesting.
But I mean, when you look at that though, that's not going to be of any use until after your critical path is done, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of going back to Fort Tarsus, is to run your critical path and run your story your way, right? So I mean, it's going to be cool afterwards, or if you're just like, okay, we're all going to get together, we're going to go run the 3 strongholds, and or just go do some contracts and other things.
Well, that's where our APL will meet, right before we all break off to do our thing.
Sure. Yeah.
So, you know, for the group photo, you gotta have a group photo.
Oh yeah.
So we'll stand there and we'll pose and we'll flex and we'll have our stuff, our gold javelins, because
with your flex
gold,
emote,
with our flex emote and our gold javelins.
Gum on the bottom of my boot.
Speaking of emotes, Mike, how do you buy emotes? I'm glad you asked that. So there's a premium currency called shards. I'm guessing that's what we're going to pay actual hard-earned cash for. We don't know what increments we're going to get those in, but like, for the love of Mike Gamble, if they say, hey, we will sell you for $5, you get 3,700 shards. Like, can we not just have a number that can be rounded up quickly, and we don't do this whole, hey, you can buy this for $5, but you can only buy these things that are like, you know, $5.50. So you're going to have to buy 2 packs, and then you're going to have extra. Like, I hate that crap so much. Like, yeah, it's not going to be long. It's like, give us a easy system, like the whole Xbox Live. What were they called back in the day, where you had to buy a card of like 3,600 points? I hate that so much. You always have leftover. You always have to.
Well, that was all their whole thing, right? You have leftovers, so you need to buy more.
Right, I know, and that sucks. I hate it.
It's just business.
It's a sucky business. But Lupo, you have comments. What do you think about all this premium shards and coins?
Well, like, playing a lot of Warframe right now, you deal with that issue a lot. Like, 75 platinum is $5 or something like that. So
I hate that so much.
It's like you said, it's not a square number, but I mean, this particular system that they have, or they're looking to implement in Anthem, is the same exact system that they use in Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. My real issue is that, like, the sweat system is relatively rewarding, but the problem is that, like, especially with a live service game, you're gonna have times where things are on reset, or you know, items are leaving the store, and you're gonna get like that panic moment where you're like, I can't buy this thing that I really, really want to get, and I don't know when it's gonna be back. So you're gonna want to take that push to pay the real cash. Now, what I would like to see them do is, like, supplement that, like be able to use half your sweat currency and use half your premium currency.
That's an interesting system. Yeah,
rather than just all, because like so like, you know, say it's 10,000 shards, you know, and you have 9,000, you know, and you need that little bit more, you know, or I'm sorry, other way around. 10,000 coin, you have 9,000 coin. Then you need like that little bit of difference in the shards to be able to get to where you need to be. I think they should implement something like that.
Yeah. Combo.
Yeah,
system.
because we know that through the alliance system that they've talked about, the system is pretty much the more that you play with a bunch of people, and the more alliance experience you get at the end screen after a mission or after running free play, you get alliance experience points, and that goes into a bank. And at the end of the week, based on how much you put in and how much other people you've played with put in, you actually get coins based on that. So I think that's a really cool system. I think that's a really dangerous system also, though. If you want people to put money into it, you know, but you're giving them coins, the problem is if you give them too much, then there's no point for them to give you real money. But if you give them too little, then everyone just hates the system because it feels cheap. So I think that's that's going to be a very hard balance for them to hit. I mean, we're not going to know what that is until we get hands-on, and you know how many people can be in your alliance, how many people will be affected by that. Because if they're like, you know, hey, you just earned 10,000 experience for the week, here's 1 coin. So, you know, that sucks.
With the alliance, though, there's no, all it does, you can't choose who's in your alliance. It's anybody you play with. It could be a random person, your friends, anyone you play with, and at the end of the week, the top 5 people that you've played with, it calculates that amount and then gives you the coins. So, which I don't like that. So it puts everybody that you play with, right? So you can jump into free play, and those 3 random people that are in for the free play with you are automatically thrown into the alliance. And then at the end of the week, the top 5 other people besides yourself that you played with during the week, their stuff's added up and put into your alliance, or counted towards what you get for your coins. So you don't get to make your alliance, you don't get to name the alliance, you don't get to choose who's in your alliance. It's just anybody and everybody that you've played with that week, and they'll choose, you know, the top 5 people or whatever that's in there and give you that. So, I mean, on the one hand, I see, okay, that's great. You know, maybe it gives you a chance to run into more people to play or to put in your alliance to get free stuff from all the time, free coins. But on the other hand, it just makes it, it's not personal. It's not my choice. It's nothing for me to choose. It's just something that's in an in-game mechanic that I have no control over, and it's just automatically there.
I mean, and it benefits the people that play less.
Yeah, like if they run into me and I'm playing all the time, they get stuff off of me, which I don't like.
Which I guess is fine, because we don't know, like, we obviously are going to get sweat currency from other places. It's not just going to be from the alliance system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you play enough to where you're just raking in the sweat currency because you're putting in the time, then that little increment might not matter. And maybe you can just buy everything with your sweat currency. And, you know, you might not ever have to buy premium shards. Maybe it's a system to where, like, you know, it's for people that only have maybe 2 hours a week to play. Hey, you're not going to be able to earn enough sweat currency. So, you know, maybe you just buy it. So I don't know, because I would love to give them more money.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you want to support the developer, and you want, you know, that content in the future to keep coming out, because it's not going to just be there because they're not going to work for free. So they've got to earn that money somehow. So, and usually, you know, the hardcore players fund games like this because they're in there all the time. They're spending the money. Like, I don't know how much money comes in for people that play, you know, a couple times a week compared to people that play, you know, several hours a day. So it's gonna be a really interesting balance. And luckily, I think they can probably change a lot of this on the fly. The problem is, if you get it, you know, if you make it worse in the future, you tend to get a lot of blowback from that. So it'll be very interesting to see. But I don't know, Lupo, is any other games you played that have a similar system like this?
Well, I mean, Destiny did. Destiny 2 did at launch. Except they were giving like gear. You know, it wasn't like a sweat currency. It was gear, powerful gear that like basically took out half of the work that you would do over the course of a week. So they gave you 4 powerful drops, just for your clan being, being active, doing what they need to do. So like I understand that system's a little bit better because you're designating who gets these particular things. So like if I'm in a clan, I can help out people that aren't playing in my own clan, so I didn't want to do PvP stuff, so I could actually benefit from the people that did want to play PvP in my clan. So I mean, that was like a good thing where I would do the raids, they do the PvP stuff, and we'd both mutually benefit from that. But if you have people that are just in the clan to be in the clan and get the stuff, then it's unfair to the people that are putting in all the time. But that's the one system that I've seen something similar to that wasn't great, and they've since completely retooled that because of those things.
Yeah, I understand they want people to have that feeling of, okay, even if I can't play all the time, I'm still making progress, I'm still getting something. But I would much rather have it like in an actual guild system, to where you sign up, you're in a guild, you've got 100 people, and that's where all that sweat currency is coming from. Because like you said, Devin, it's more personal.
Yeah,
you feel like you're actually part of something. It's not just some random that, oh wow, I matched with you, good thing you played a ton, because now I'm gonna get all this
all this stuff with you.
I'm gonna get all this stuff off of you.
Coin.
So it's a very interesting system. So
for a game that's about your choices and stuff, it's a very impersonal decision they've made for us. So I don't know, maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be, but it's just like a lackluster.
Well, it depends. It depends on the impact, honestly. Like if it's just like as Steve said, if it's just like a little bit of nothing, it's not the end of the world. But if you're getting half an item or a full item out of the currency that you earn from these particular systems, then I can understand it being like a detrimental thing.
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't have the time to play, you go in once a week. Other people are doing a lot of work, and just because you were lucky to matchmake with someone who's a top 1% player, you get a large chunk of coin for something that you didn't earn the coin for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's so, that's the hard thing. It's like they've spent time creating this system, so if it's not worthwhile, then it's a waste of time. I think them investing in this alliance system. So it has to be worthwhile, or it's just been a waste of time, or it's not going to be of any value, because it's like, oh well, who cares? It's the alliance, nothing matters about it. So it's going to be another thing they have to balance or try and figure out. I don't know. It's just impersonal and something I don't want as impersonal.
Right, and one thing like I think about, like if you could imagine the game without the alliance system, like does it make the game worse? Like I don't think it does.
No, just it frustrates me as all it does.
Right. But it's like, well, I mean, and we'll have to see if it makes it better. Like maybe it's that one thing, like, okay, it's the end of the week. Let's see how many coins I got. Let's see if I can go unlock this this cosmetic item that I've been waiting for. Hey, I got just enough because I played with this one person. I mean, and it might be very beneficial for
a certain type of player.
For a certain type of player, but
yeah. That might be good.
Huh. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I guess we're not going to even know about it because we might not be able to play a full week for it to be live. I doubt that it's even going to be there. So I don't know. Anyway, the last thing that we have to talk about before this whole thing crashes down is that there's only going to be 3 strongholds at launch. This was revealed during the IGN video. So question is that enough? Like 3 strongholds at launch. We don't know about any other Elder game. We don't know about Shaper Storms. We know that there's legendary contracts. We know that there's 3 strongholds. There's a critical path that we're not going to be able to play through. Is 3 strongholds enough?
I don't know.
Devin.
So I mean, there's just too many unknowns. Really, it's like my first thing this morning when I heard it, I was like, wow, that's not enough, right? Like when I first heard this morning, I was kind of disappointed and let down by that number.
Describe your feelings, Devin.
Let's put you on the couch.
It was a long morning for me, and so when I heard about it, I was just like, what? And I was pretty disappointed. And but again, there's just too many things we don't know, right? John talks about massive end game, as we talked about in Discord, is like, is that just a word they're using? Are they just throwing stuff in there and they're not going to follow through? So far, they haven't really done that with anything. They haven't just been throwing out shock words or whatever, to try and get people's attention. I mean, they do some for the marketing, but they've been pretty open and honest about stuff. So, I'm waiting for the next video to drop where he talks about the massive end game or elder game, and because three strongholds to me, as we talked about again in the Discord, just doesn't seem like it's enough. Like, if you're going to be replaying those over and over again, and I know there's going to be increasing difficulties, but that's only three things that you're going to be playing over and over again. I mean, yes, there'll be more waves or more enemies and different, AI actions, the higher the difficulty and how many people you're playing with. But if you're just replaying the same stuff over and over again, it just gets tedious and boring. And then it leads to, okay, how can we figure out how to cheat this and skip stuff so we can just get to the end and get done with this? Because just,
I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's every game though, right? That you're just going through to clear things out. Eventually, it's all the same thing over and over again.
yeah, I mean, amount of content's always going to be the problem with a live service game. So,
and so, like you said, when you hear there's only 3, that doesn't sound like a lot to me.
Yeah.
I know during EA Play they said strongholds are 30 to 45 minute experiences.
Yeah.
And if there's only 3 of those, depending on what difficulty you're playing on, I mean, eventually they'll all get easy depending on the gear that you get and once you get good enough. So to me, it doesn't sound like 3 is enough. Lupo, do you think 3 is enough? Or do we need to like triple this number here? Do we need like 9 strongholds?
I mean, tripling sounds reasonable at this point. We don't know if they're gonna if like strongholds are gonna be packed into legendary contracts. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. It's not something that they've said no or ruled out already. So I mean, there's no reason why a stronghold can't be part of a legendary contract. Like, you do X world event, and then you do a stronghold to finish it off. Maybe like a higher tier or something like that. It's there's too much unknowns to the end game, and that's my only reservation.
Yeah.
So far in this game, like, no matter what game is put out, people that want to consume content at the fastest pace possible are going to do it.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are going to keep playing it though. So it's a tough place to put yourself in. Like, do you invest into, the story content that doesn't last as long, or do you invest into challenging mechanics and challenging activities that are going to appeal more to the players that are going to play longer over time?
Well, I mean, especially since you can't replay the critical path unless you're playing with your friends or you start a new pilot. I don't understand that part, but
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I guess in Destiny, there wasn't really any point of replaying those missions afterwards.
But you
I
could
think-
still do them.
Yeah.
But you could
It's
still
probably
do it if you
because
want.
it's probably because of the Fort Tarsus progression, I would assume.
Yeah.
But
that
I'm
you
sure
can't
that
go
they
back and
could
play
do
those
that. They
again.
could do that in
Yeah.
a legendary contract. So, that could be part of what a legendary contract is. Like, you replay this particular. It seems like a lot of them have some sort of boss encounter or some sort of completion encounter, whether it be, doing a small puzzle to unlock a gate and then you fight a boss or something like that. So I don't see why they couldn't add that to the same kind of content pool, but that we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know.
I think also one of the things that I think Anthem has done, and it really hasn't followed conventional norms with a lot of things. So we kind of get stuck in, 3 strongholds at launch. But one thing that they have said over and over again is that our release schedule is going to be quicker and it's going to be faster. So it might be 3 at launch in February, but maybe they drop one, after that. Maybe there's one in April.
March?
Maybe they drop a new stronghold in April, then they go May, and they're quickly turning these things around a lot faster. So 3 sounds like it's not enough, but I guess we're thinking, okay, this is going to be the game we're playing until the next content drop. But that could be a lot sooner than we're used to.
Than we're used
which
to, than
case-
we anticipate.
I mean,
In which-
I'm pretty sure Ben did allude to that at the Stronghold live stream before Christmas, that he said that we'll have some aspirational content to play when the game first launches, and then very shortly after. Like, obviously that's a major, caveat type thing where you don't know what that's going to be, but they're stressing that it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we know for sure they've probably have tons of people working on this thing. They've had BioWare Austin was doing like live service Star Wars games, so I'm sure they have a whole team already working on the content for the year.
True.
So
they have two full teams.
Yeah, 2 full teams working on this stuff. We went gold yesterday. I mean, yeah, maybe 3 strongholds sounds like it's not enough, but maybe we're just not thinking. We're just kind of stuck in the mindset of, okay, this is Destiny, this is Division, because that's what we're used to. I mean, shoot, man, if you even thought, oh, this is Diablo 3, then you're never going to get new content for like 8 years if you play that game. So
well, at least in Diablo 3, there's repeatable content that changes stuff up, at least somewhat. So
I mean, it changes stuff up, but it really doesn't change it up that much, right?
I mean enough that it's fine to keep playing it, but
I mean, I've fallen asleep playing that game more than any other game I've played, just because you kind of get in that mindset. It's like, all right, this is what I do. When you hear that noise, you wake up. If not, you fall back asleep and you just hit your rotation and you drop meteors on people. So, I'm excited to see what their cadence is. I'm very interested to see how this alliance system plays out. I'm not real interested in. I'm more interested in a guild system.
Yeah.
That hopefully is going to come out, and that you can actually build guilds with people. Hey, what if we can put together our own decal, stuff like that. So it'll be very cool to see all that stuff in the future.
When you heard you say that, Stephen.
It's true. I mean, Phaedron also mentioned the Shaper Storms that we saw back in the E3 demo. He speculates that that's going to be part of the first raid, whatever that is. I mean, I can't imagine they would scrap Shaper Storms. I mean, Shapers are a huge part of the game. It's a huge part of the lore. But maybe that's that one thing they're just holding close to the chest. So hopefully we'll see more about that.
Your tagline, man.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, we've been saying it for a year that there's Shaper Storms on the horizon.
And those guys are like, those idiots.
It's almost 2 years, Mike. It's not even a year. It's almost 2 years.
18 months already.
Yeah, it's felt like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it really has. Well, guys, if there's anything else you guys have to add on to this super long discussion about Anthem, I mean, tomorrow's the day. I can't believe it. It's happening tomorrow.
We're like an hour and a half closer than what we were when we started. It's pretty awesome.
I know. It's pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
It's going to be exciting. So
I'm just happy I get off work at noon.
Whatever. Don't talk to me, criminal.
So tomorrow when we're all playing, where can we find each other?
I can unplug my mic and shut this whole thing down again. So, Lupo, thank you for coming on again. We will try to get you up. We'll get you up 2 more times. I shouldn't say it like that. Phrasing's bad like that. So we'll make it so you are the #1 guest on the show. So you can pass Ash here. Can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah.
And what you do?
Mixer, Twitter, and Instagram.com/Lupo, the number 2, the rescue. That's where to find me. I'll be on Freelancer Enclave State of the Game this Sunday, the 27th.
Very cool.
1 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, very nice. Who's going to be on with you?
It's me, Sploom, who's the host, and William from Your Anthem. So.
Oh, cool.
He's catching up from his condition he had the last time when you guys were on. So. And then I'll be on the Mulehorn Gaming podcast on Thursday. So that's the 31st.
Very cool.
Usually comes out the day afterwards. So yeah, like a lot of people with the Anthem thing. I mean, my show's been pretty wild the last few weeks. Like, people are hungry for information, just want to talk about things. And I mean, this coming Monday, I'm expecting people just to, like, what I'm gonna do is invite people to share their Anthem moments with me on stream. So, like, take your Xbox, send all your stuff in, and we'll kind of look at it and say, like, all of the really cool, epic, heroic stuff that people are doing on in the demo.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Does that include fails? Because I might have a few epic, heroic fails.
You can't have good things without bad. It makes it not better. I mean, look, like John Warner said himself, his Anthem moment was falling out of the sky and finding a deep underwater cave that he didn't realize was even there. So
nice.
Very
I'll probably
cool.
get struck by lightning or something. Yeah,
you probably
whatever.
will. we'll make that happen. But yeah, everyone.
And so then I was also thinking.
Busting his chops.
Rusted put me up to it. Said I had to. Said I would do it for him.
Fair enough. What I was gonna say, I do this to my kids all the time, so I understand the frustration that they have now. So everyone, check out Lupo's show, Enter the Javelin, on Mondays. Lupo, I think you do a great job on your show. It's a very inclusive place. It's very friendly. I mean, it's every idea is welcome. It seems like you're willing to discuss what people have, what they're thinking. So, I mean, it's a fun show. I like to hang out. Usually I catch you while I'm driving, which is super dangerous. I should stop doing that. But everyone check it out.
Like an
Enter the
audio-only
Javelin
version.
Yeah, that would be nice. Mixer's app is terrible. It's like the worst app. We're not sponsored by Mixer, so.
Well, now with that attitude.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Their app is not good. But anyway,
They're working on it.
guys, this has been episode 70 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. I think this is an Anthem podcast. We are the longest running Anthem podcast on the internet. And tomorrow's it's it. I mean, freelancers, you know what to do. It's time to get to work. Or there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon. Maybe. There might not be Shaper Storms anymore in the game. We don't know for sure.
Might
We're
not
going to
be.
have to change that tagline. But hey, I don't even know what I say anymore after this. So, oh yeah, there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon. And we'll see you on the other side.
Peace.
Bye. Oh, I have to push a button.
You have to play the outro there.
Oh, he's
Steve.
gonna push a button and everything's gonna break.
Oh my
Oh man.
Hold on, dear.
Guys, I had a really long day, but I'm going to push this now.
Oh, we know.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or through email at freelancercodex@gmail.com. Join the Discord through the link provided at freelancercodex.com. Our show will always be free, but if you'd like to send some support, you may do so at patreon.com/freelancercodex. Our individual Twitter handles are at Stephen Lamson, at mlamson25, at Neverfear, and at JD the Joke Dealer. Freelancers, it's time to get to work.
Boom. And there's the drop.
Drop